Welcome to 10-7 Off-Duty Podcast. This is Andrew Straley, EMTP, and with me is Clyde.
Hey.
Hi, Clyde.
Hi.
I talked to John last night. He's going to try to Skype in with us one of these days.
I really thought I turned it down.
Fail. So, you called me. Well, I called you last night because you texted me.
Mm-hmm.
You had an adventurous last night.
I did.
Let me paint a picture to everybody real quick. So, in the spirit of me calling it, we got fucking snow last weekend. And because we were talking a couple episodes ago that it was Christmas time and New Year's, and it was dry. It rained, but it was hot. You could go outside and do shit. Yeah, that lasted like what, 2 weeks maybe?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just like a couple of years back, we were talking about how warm December
Yes.
and got an ass pounding in January.
Jack Frost definitely put it in our butt this year too.
Yes.
We got what, 6 or 8 inches at least, if not a foot.
Yeah, about.
Yeah, that's the nice thing
and
about
that was
having.
Overnight.
Yes,
Oh man.
but it did scratch my itch for doing that snow wheeling thing that I was talking about too, because I was able to, go cruise out in the highway and pull some people out of ditches and whatnot. Even had a guy buy me a case of beer for pulling him out, so that was nice.
No shit. That'd be pretty cool.
Yep, it was fun. But this weekend, I guess the weekend after, or the weekend before people are going to hear this, we're supposed to get another fucking foot of snow.
Yeah, shut up about that.
Mm,
I don't want it to happen only because my brother's birthday is this weekend.
Yeah.
And I promised I would go up to see him.
Yeah.
Well, if it snows, there's no way I can make it up there.
You just have 2 cars, too.
Yeah, we don't have a truck at
I mean, is your Impala front wheel drive or rear wheel drive? I can't remember.
front, I want to say.
At least you got front wheel drive. I mean,
I'm driving both of them doesn't mean I'm going to trust it in a foot of snow.
true. Get this, my dad is driving a rear wheel drive Crown Vic through this shit.
Oh, fuck that.
Hey, man, he had to dig it out the first day, but he's been able to get around with it, so at least that's something. And at least I actually texted him the other day and told him I wanted to go out off-roading, but he doesn't have a truck right now, so I can't call him to pull me out. So I was like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So yes, it is cold. It is
Yesterday
snowy.
was, 9 degrees?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been trying to fix a blower motor on one truck, so and I can't pull it in the garage because the Mustangs can't make it past all the snow, so I've been doing it outside. So I've had to go in and defrost these nuts every once in a while.
It is so cold out here. I could literally snap my testicles off like a graham cracker.
You pee outside and it freezes. You got to go inside and thaw it all out. Yes. So, what was your adventure yesterday?
Hey, my adventure was my furnace has been on the fritz for like 2 weeks now. Maybe
it's
longer.
Worked, but just
It's
not
worked.
well.
Every once in a while, it would just stop blowing hot air.
That sucks.
Yeah. And we'd wake up in the middle of the night and it'd be like 50 degrees in our house. So we'd go over, we'd turn off the thermostat, turn it back on, hot air.
Right.
Magic.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. I cannot tell you how many conversations my wife and I had just saying we just have to make it through the winter. Then we can save up to buy a whole new furnace by next winter.
Right.
Okay. Cool.
Usually not necessary, but it is nice.
Well, we've been talking about getting a new one anyways because I think ours is like a Model 72 that came out in 1972.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. It's been in the house a while.
I've actually had this conversation with a couple of people. I'm not sure which furnace is newer, the one in the garage, or the one in my house. So it's
Yeah.
kind of a toss up. But
Yeah.
and trust me, I've thought about getting a new furnace in the house. Them motherfuckers are expensive.
They are. And that would actually be one of the things that would be a selling point for us is if we could get a more compact furnace in our house that could produce just as much heat.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome because it's in our laundry room. As it is, you have to walk sideways between the wall and the front of the washer and dryer.
That sucks, man.
Oh, yeah. Like, you cannot open the dryer door all the way. I work on appliances on the side.
Yeah.
I have to pull my appliances out of out of my laundry room, through my kitchen, into my garage just to work on them.
Yeah.
We actually have to remove the appliance and everything, get into the crawl space in the base we don't have a basement, we have a crawl space.
Right.
Because the washer and dryer sit right on top of the crawl space. Like
Dude,
the
that
hatch.
sucks.
Oh man, our house is just set up horribly. 700 square feet. Like I've seen garages bigger than my house.
Right.
And anyway, so the furnace kicks out, just done. It
Last
bit
night
the dust. Last night it bit the dust. So I'm the father, I'm the husband. I am trying to keep my cool,
Right.
trying to be relaxed. I just quit smoking 2 months ago. I don't drink if I work the next day. Those are my rules for myself.
Right. You broke those.
Oh, I broke those both big time last night. Okay. So first I call, I'm not going to say who it is just in case there are people in the area listening. I don't want to damage their reputation. But I call one location that fixes...
An HVAC place.
Yes.
Yeah.
And call one place. And I end up on the phone with this little old man. And I'm on the phone with him for 15 minutes.
And he sounds like he's like 90 years old.
He was close to 90. He actually told me his age.
Shit.
But in that 15 minutes, this is what I asked him. I asked him, okay, my furnace just stopped working. It's blowing cold air. It's no longer blowing hot air. The fan is still working. Everything's working the way it's supposed to. It's just not blowing hot air. What's the problem? Or how much will it cost to get somebody out here
Yeah.
to fix it tonight?
Just to point this out, what time was it? Like 6 or 7 whenever I called you? It was pretty late.
I was to say, you called me, I want to say it was like 7 o'clock, maybe 7:45,
I've
somewhere
had
in
people
there.
have to come out in the daytime to fix a furnace, and that is expensive on its own.
Exactly. And so, I mean, this was time and a half. Now, so that's what I wanted to find out.
Mm-hmm.
In that 15 minutes, I found out that, according to him, aluminum ductwork is only 80% efficient, and I should switch to PVC pipe. Okay.
That sounds like an upsell.
In that 15 minutes, I found out that, evidently, I've not looked into this, American Standard and the train company used to be a part of General Electric. And then like 40 years ago, they broke off and made their own company. Okay.
Still not helpful.
In that 15 minutes, I learned that his stepson was the main electrical inspector for our area.
Okay. Still not helpful.
And in that 15 minutes, this is the crown jewel. I learned that it's all a conspiracy,
Oh, good.
and the companies, the big corporate companies, make things more difficult just so the consumer has to spend more money to get something easy fixed. Now, I agree with that.
Right.
But can you guess what I didn't find out in that 15 minutes?
How much it would cost to have somebody come out and what was wrong with the thing?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. We've got a winner.
It got to the point where I was like, sir. He's like, yeah. I'm just trying to find out what's wrong with my furnace, man. And he's like, oh, well, don't let me stop you. I'm like, you're the one who's supposed to be telling me.
I called you, dude.
Like,
What the fuck?
So that was the first one.
Okay.
After that, my wife looked at me and I was
Did he
like,
ever end up telling you how much it would be to have somebody come out?
No. He gave me, he's the one who gave me the number to the other phone call I'm about to tell you about.
Okay. Now, let me I don't think I've ever heard of a company giving another company's phone number to a consumer.
And I quote, we do not handle train companies' products.
Okay.
So, okay, understandable. He gave me the number.
Yeah.
He gave me the number of somebody who could help me.
Right.
Awesome. Yeah. I don't know why he didn't lead with that.
Well,
But
possibly lonely. Who knows?
that's the reason I stuck it out for so long, because I actually remember was thinking about my grandmother. I'm like, there were days that she would just talk to people.
Right.
Because I was always at school or I was working and stuff like that. So I was like, I'm just going to listen. And then finally at the end, I was just like, I can't do it anymore, dude. I'm sorry. My family's gonna get cold tonight. I need to get this shit fixed.
Right. Yeah, no shit. That's a
Well,
funny side note is the lady that used to answer the phones at night for the ambulance service, the last ambulance service I worked for, was 80 years old. I can only imagine if somebody was having an emergency what that conversation went like.
Oh man.
You know?
Oh yeah.
Not only 80 years old, but also 80 years old owning a funeral home and ambulance service. So that's that's odd. Okay. So
I mean, that's actually a really good idea, though, because I mean, like if she stroked out or died, I mean, she wouldn't have to pay for anything.
Yeah, and actually, that's the way most of the old services used to work. Unless they ran out of the hospital, they would be ran by the funeral home.
Really?
That's how all of them were. Yeah,
Go,
and actually,
go real slow to the hospital. Business is dead this week.
literally. Actually, the funny thing is, I talked to one service that I was. Side notes here. One service that's in the area that I had talked to. I actually talked about them on the podcast when we first started. I talked to them. This was before you. This was when it was just me and John. They are still a ambulance service owned by the funeral home, but what I didn't like about the fact that they were owned by the funeral home is they expected the medics, if they weren't busy, to help move bodies in the funeral home. I'm like, I am not about that life. I am so sorry.
That's weird.
I don't.
Okay, so
I don't mind moving fresh dead, but the longer dead they are, no, thank you.
Yeah. I have a question for you real quick.
Yes.
Okay, before I tell the rest of the story.
Okay.
A cremation center. What is that actually called? Is that a crematorium?
Yes. Crematorium.
Okay.
Yeah.
The reason I brought that up is
People
because
Dust Center.
right outside of my hometown, where I'm originally from,
Right.
there was actually a place called Adolf Funeral Home and Crematorium.
I am not surprised, but that's awesome.
That is fucked up. Adolf Funeral Home and Cremation Center. And the best and worst part was they were located in a Jewish neighborhood.
Oh my God.
I know. I was like, well, some neo-Nazi has got a sick, twisted sense of humor.
You remember how not long ago we were talking about the worst jokes that we know? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm going to give you the worst joke that I know, and I hope this doesn't offend anybody, but it probably will, because everybody's got to be PC these days. How do you fit 12 Jews in a Volkswagen?
How's that?
Ashtray. Sorry, guys.
It's fucked up.
Okay.
So I call this other business.
I think it's funny that we were talking about furnaces and then went to a crematorium. Just saying.
In a morbid kind of way.
Yes, ironic.
Yeah. So I go ahead and call this other business, and the second this little old lady answers the phone, I'm like, this shit again. Like,
you can't win for losing last night.
Oh, dude, it gets so good, man. I go ahead and I'm talking to her, and I ask her straight up. I'm like, I just need a price check. How much is it gonna cost to get somebody out to my house,
right,
to work on my furnace? I didn't want to do any of that middleman bull crap. I didn't want to try to be friendly this time. I just want to get straight to business.
Yeah, of course.
And she goes, well, that'd be time and a half.
Okay,
thank you.
What would that cost?
Well, I should have worded it like that, because then I probably wouldn't have had this problem.
Okay.
I said, all right, what's time and a half? This bitch. She goes, well.
This old biddy.
Oh, my God. Well, time and a half is when you pay them for the hour that they work, and then also for a half an hour on top of that.
So she gave you the
She literally
definition.
explained what time and a half was. I almost punched my dryer. I'm standing there just like squeezing my phone, because I had called him off my wife's phone.
Right.
squeezing my phone, and like I'm starting to feel the plastic bend in my hand. I'm like, thank you, ma'am. Have a good night. And I hang up, and she's like, my wife's looking at me. She's like, are you okay?
You just gave up at that point.
Oh, I gave up. I was fucking done.
And
I was
you
like-
had that. I have had this feeling before where you're talking to somebody and you can literally just like feel that light switch or that flip switch in your head, and you're like, the stupid burns. It burns the skin.
Like,
The
no,
fuck?
I knew that I had to get off the phone right then, or I was gonna scream at her, and I didn't think she was saying or doing anything intentionally to make me mad.
Right.
And so I figured, I was like, if I scream at her, then I'll be the dick and I'll feel bad, and there'd be no way I'd be able to apologize to her.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm just gonna get off the phone. I'm gonna wish her a good night and be done with it. So I get off the phone, and my wife's like, Clyde, what's wrong?
We're gonna need extra blankets.
And I look at her and I tell her a story, and she thinks it's the funniest thing in the world. I'm like,
Yeah, of course.
well, I hope you think it's funny because you're calling the next one.
Frustrations are real. That
Well,
sucks.
finally, I after about the third person we got a hold of that said it would be a minimum of like $170 just to show up.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? We got a couple extra space heaters. We're good.
Yeah.
We're good. Couple blankets and space heaters. I've never been so happy I have a small house in my life. We had two going,
Right.
and pretty much my whole house was warm.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
See-
the back half, just
Yeah.
where the bedrooms are.
Yeah. We've talked about this before. Neither of us were rich when we were growing up, but I know one of the second house that I ever lived in in a smaller town. It wasn't a big house either, but I do remember in the summertime, since we didn't have central air, my mom would put the window AC unit in, hang blankets up in the hallways, and we'd just literally live in the living room, you know?
When I was a kid living in Chicago, the landlord, because I don't know how common this is in other places, but I know it was common up there, and I'm assuming it's the same way in other cities, because down where we live, if there's an apartment complex, chances are there's going to be about 7 apartment complexes all on the same property, and they're all going to be they're going to be owned by the same either person or corporation.
Right, yeah.
That's around here. Up there, you could see 15 apartment complexes in a 6-block radius, and they're all owned by different people.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and well, our landlord, his name was Frank.
There's always shitty landlords, too.
He was kind of a slumlord to certain tenants.
Right,
If
yeah.
you were a shitty tenant, he was a shitty landlord.
Yeah.
If you were a good tenant, he was like the best landlord you would ever have.
And unfortunately, like Chicago tenants can swing widely from one way to the other.
Oh yeah, I
You
mean,
could either have the best tenant in the world, or you could have like the fucking hoarder to end-all hoarder.
there was now he was not American. He I want to say he and his brother were Dutch.
Okay.
Like his brother Adam spoke like 5 words in English.
Right.
Like he would actually have to have Frank with him to translate for him for certain things, because Frank was more of the customer service,
Okay.
and Adam was more of the maintenance man.
Gotcha.
Of the two of them.
Is it sad that the first thing that I thought of whenever you said Dutch was a Dutch rudder?
Probably.
Okay.
Okay.
My mind sucks. dirty,
But-
dirty, bad.
But anyway, I remember there was actually one time, a couple of times, they didn't have a grasp on. Okay, well, I shouldn't say they didn't have a grasp, but probably just didn't give a fuck
Right.
about certain American laws and customs.
That was
weird. There was one time where they had a tenant. I was in the backyard playing, and there was a tenant that was just late one too many times on their rent.
Gotcha.
They went into the apartment when nobody was home and started moving their shit out. They were forcibly evicting
No
the
shit.
person. Yeah, they got home, and I just remember the person like screaming like, "What are you doing in my apartment?" He's like, "You're done. You're done. We're done dealing with your
Holy
shit."
fuck.
Like he was taking it. They lived on the 3rd floor. He was taking it and like throwing it over the railing.
No shit.
Oh man, like he lost it. Like was just throwing shit over the railing. I remember seeing a couch coming down. Bam! I was like, oh, that was cool. I'm like
Now in-
7 at the
Now in
time.
13 pieces.
I'm like 7 at the time. That was the coolest thing I'd ever seen, is a couch fall 3 stories.
Did you ever see that video? And I can only assume it was like college students trying to move out of their apartment, and so they try to put a. I only assume that they didn't want to keep it, but they tried to throw a futon over the railing, like.
Oh, is it the
and
one that like buckled on the last step and flopped up and cracked the dude in the face?
There was that one, and then there was also the one where it broke the main window in the apartment below them.
No, I hadn't
Because
seen that one.
An object in motion tends to stay in motion, so when it's on rotation on the way down,
It's
it
gonna
keeps
keep
rotating.
rotating.
So yeah, that's for anybody college age. Don't throw shit off a balcony, or if you do, make sure you throw it far enough it's not going to hit the thing below it. Just saying.
The reason I mentioned that was our apartment was one of the only apartments that had a door on the living room, because my grandmother asked Adam and Frank if they could put one up, because during the summer it gets so hot in there.
Right.
We would throw the Windows unit in, and then just AC our front room.
Right. Yeah.
And she said, she's like, we don't like hanging up blankets because every year we have to put up a nail, and we're afraid that too many nails getting lost, all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
My grandma was kind of weird. She wouldn't just leave a nail on the wall. She would pull it out when she was done.
Right.
She was kind of weird like that. I don't know.
It is what it is.
And
It's
so,
an aesthetic thing.
yeah. And so he was like, you know what? We appreciate you trying to save our walls. So yeah, we'll put up a door for you. And they put up a door. I mean, it was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's some places that'll get pissed off at you if you put a fucking nail in a wall. You know, you'd have to call the landlord and be like, "Is it okay if I put one up?"
Yeah, I know. I actually used thumbtacks.
Right.
Thumbtacks when I lived in one apartment, and you know what I would use to cover it up?
What?
Elmer's glue.
Yeah.
Because it was white.
Right.
And then when it dried, it would actually just kind of just blend into the wall.
You know what's really funny? One of the weird fix things that I learned a long time ago. I don't know if anybody out there is a musician like we are or anything, but when I was playing metal music, inevitably I would end up pulling my strap locks out of the guitar. So then you can't put a screw back into it because it's already pulled the wood out. Well, this really old timer, like, this dude was an 80s metal guy. Like,
All
he
right.
had Kramer guitars. That's what he played. And, like, the original ones. Well, he told me a trick that if you ever have a hole in wood, the easiest way to fix it so you can put a screw back in the same spot is you take a toothpick with you fill it up with Elmer's glue, stick a toothpick in it. Once the Elmer's glue dries, break it off right there, and then put a screw back in it. It'll never come out again. It's awesome. I've done that to quite a few guitars.
Wonder if it's because the threads on the screw grip the toothpick too.
Yeah. Basically, it's like putting wood back into wood. You know, everybody likes a
Never
woody
would've thought
on
of
woody
that.
action. Yeah, and I've used that a couple of times with some holes that I've accidentally put in wood that I didn't intend to put in wood.
That's a really good idea. I hadn't even thought of that.
Mm-hmm. So, pro tip.
Huh.
But you got your furnace fixed today.
Yes.
Thankfully.
Yes.
I assume it was while you were at work, so you
Yeah,
haven't
it
been
was.
home to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was the earliest they can get out. So.
Right.
Yeah.
But, you know, as long as it's fixed, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I can't
I'm
wait
telling
to
you
go
what,
to a nice
though.
warm house.
I'm not a professional at working on furnaces and stuff because, I mean, there's a lot of things that can kind of blow
Right.
up in your face if you do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been lucky enough that I've learned a little bit, and it's let me repair some of my own stuff because fuck having HVAC people come out to your house. I mean, I don't want to sound like an asshole because it's, you know, that's how they make their living and stuff like that. That shit's fucking expensive.
Yeah. Honestly, I know quite a few HVAC and professional like plumbers and stuff like that where they're regular guys and they will tell you, they'll be like, hey, off the books, this is a much easier fix. And then they'll say like, but our company doesn't do that.
Right, yeah.
Wink.
Wink.
And
Nudge,
then, like,
nudge.
but I'm sure you seem like you're a smart guy and you can handle something like that, right, sir? Like, well, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, so you're no longer requesting our services, right? Wink.
Right.
Like, right. Okay, well, you have a good day.
Yeah, you told me but you told me it ended up being the control board.
Yeah, there would have been no way I would have been able to fix that on my own.
Well, yes, you could have, but it would
don't-
have taken a couple of days, and it's 9 degrees outside, so fuck that.
And not just that, I didn't know what was wrong with it.
Right.
I had no idea. Like when I tested everything I could in there with the tools that I have,
Right.
and everything was working perfectly according to what I had to work with.
Right, yeah.
I didn't have the tools to test the control board itself.
Yeah.
And so I would have been up shit creek without a paddle.
And it's kind of, it's one of those things you don't want to assume it's something and just throw parts at it.
Yep, I actually did that early on working with appliances, and believe me, there were some appliances that I could have made a pretty decent penny off of.
Right.
And didn't work out that well.
No.
It barely broke even. Sometimes took a loss on them because I would just throw parts at them until shit was fixed.
I love Amazon because I can usually get some of those parts and shit for a furnace pretty cheap on Amazon.
See, I will say that since I've become a father, I don't take chances like that as much. See, I will say I love my son with all my heart. I kind of wish sometimes that my wife and I would have waited a little bit longer, or not really longer, but would have waited a little farther into my home owning career.
Right.
Because if he wasn't there, my wife and I could have stayed warm as I figured out how to fix this furnace. But
you could.
Yeah. But with a
Brown
2-year-old,
chicken,
with a 2-year-old in the house, I was like, as a parent,
Yeah.
I have to get this fixed as soon as possible.
Well, yeah. I mean, so many things can go wrong if you don't fix
Exactly.
it right.
And I don't want
Frozen pipes and all that other shit.
Exactly. So I was like, I have to get this fixed ASAP.
Yeah, totally. I get that.
Um,
I was thinking, because you work in a foundry now, and I see that you have a Carhartt shirt on with the FR logo on it.
yes.
And it's fire retardant.
Yes.
And I was wondering...
Not fireproof. People need to understand that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's kind of like like firefighter suits. They're not fireproof. They're fire retardant. They're, you can still burn a hole through it. I can't tell you how many times that it was a little bit hotter than what I thought it was.
When I was going through my firefighting training, I was on fire.
Yeah.
I told you about the story, yeah?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
There's like somebody starts smacking me in the back. I thought they were just being a dick, and they're like, "No, you're on fire, dude."
Yeah. Once fire suits get too hot, they turn pink or white, and then
Really?
they're no longer usable anymore. Mm-hmm.
Well, that makes me really sad because I think all of our training uniforms were white,
Yeah.
and they were sending us into burning,
Yeah.
controlled burns. But
Right. But like even if you like the old school black ones, they would definitely turn pink and then turn white. But then the yellow suits, they would just turn white or pink, depending on how hot they got.
the ones we had were still more yellow than white, but they were all pretty close to white. Like they were on their
Yeah.
last legs.
Yeah, I think I went to the same place for academy
fire
training.
training, yep.
Uh-huh. And they were sketchy when I was there, and that was a few years before you went there. And I doubt they got new equipment. I'm just putting it out there.
By the time I got in there, man, you were already 22, I want to say.
Yeah,
Because you're 30 now?
I am 30.
Yeah,
I'm
so you're
old.
4 years older than me. I was 17, turning 18. I turned 18 in that class.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's one thing that I was wanting to talk about was like gear recommendations,
Okay.
because you need good. It doesn't matter what job you do, whether it's fire, EMS, police, corrections. You need good gear in order to be comfortable, because you're not really sure how long you're going to be either on your feet or sweating or all that stuff.
Some of the best advice I was ever given when it comes to be working was actually given to me by the wife of one of the hardest working blue collar guys I've ever met.
Yeah.
And on top of that, she was the manager I had when I worked at the fast food joint.
Gotcha.
She and I would talk. Her husband was a blue collar guy from the time he was fucking like 6 years old till he retired like 3 years ago. Bored shitless.
Right.
So he's always outside now, working on something, doing some kind of project, building benches, building tables, doing some kind of work for somebody.
Right. Yeah.
And
I've never understood how people can like retire and just not do anything. I'm going stir crazy not working, and that's why I'm working in the garage all the time.
yeah, my wife gets mad at me after a day of sitting in the house. The next day I'm just like
Going stir crazy.
jittery. I'm like, oh man, I got cabin fever right now. I need to get the fuck out of this house.
Oh, totally. Man, I get that 100%. So what was his recommendation?
His recommendation, his advice was invest. It doesn't matter what kind of job you're doing. If you're a first responder or a blue collar guy, your biggest investment should be yourself.
Right.
Do not skimp on a pair of good working shoes, boots, whatever you have, just because of the price. No, your feet are how you hold yourself up all day.
Yeah.
If your dogs are screaming at you at the end of the day,
yeah,
I mean,
you're useless.
Yeah, you're exactly.
And it's just going to hurt the next day.
Exactly. And he's like, and you got 40 years of that minimum to look forward to.
And I've gone through some shitty boots. Like, people used to say that Bates boots were some of the best boots to get because they were comfortable.
Yeah.
No. Those motherfuckers would fall apart.
Honestly, the ones I recommend to people for like work boots, like if you're going into a factory or foundry or anything else,
yeah,
Wolverine.
Those are good. Yeah.
I like those. Those are I've had 2 pair of those. The only reason I've had 2 is because I actually, when I set myself on fire a couple months ago,
right? Yeah.
I melted one of my boots.
Oh, that sucks.
Now, granted, somebody might say, "Whoa, they can't be that good if it melted." No, it did its job.
Right. Yeah.
The boot melted. My foot was fine.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there was too much damage to it for me to utilize it safely again. I had to get rid of it.
I have 2. I have 2 pairs of boots that I actually rotate.
Right.
The first is more of the ones that I like to wear in the summertime.
They're a little more. They breathe a little more, I assume.
They're lighter, and they don't have any insulation in them or anything like that. But they're Rockies para boots, and I love my Rockies para boots.
Okay.
But
I've heard of them.
When they started, when the sole started getting down on them, I actually bought another pair of Rockies para boots. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know if it was just that pair or if Rockies like quality control has gone downhill, but they're actually the boots that I was wearing out in the garage. They're 2 different sizes for one. The finish, like, they've got a polished toe cap on them. The polished toe cap lasted about a day and then it was gone. The old ones that I have after I got them resold are perfect. So I don't know if quality control has gone downhill with Rockies or what, but you would assume that buying a brand new pair of the same boots that you had would last just as long as, the old ones. But the old ones I still wear on a daily basis when I go outside.
I actually had this conversation with my mother-in-law the other day, talking because she has a knee replacement on her right knee and a bone spur in her left foot. So yeah, she's had a rough time this winter.
Right. Yeah.
And she apologized to me when I got home the other day because she quote unquote used my black boots. Now, I've got 2 pair of black boots, and one of them I haven't worn in over a year because they were my corrections boots.
Right. Yeah.
And the reason I stopped wearing them because they were tacked. They were tactical boots.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. They were just Walmart Interceptor. So, I mean, they weren't like top-of-the-line tactical boots, but they were decent. I mean, they were lightweight. I could run in them. I could actually sprint in them and not get tired. They weighed the same amount as a pair of shoes, in my opinion.
Right, yeah. I've actually known quite a few people that are in EMS that have gotten those.
Oh, yeah. They're actually really nicely made boots. Like, they were... The only problem I have with them is in the back, right along your Achilles tendon, is the fabric there wears out.
Yeah, it'll wear out really
so easily, and it's just... It's not even just on the inside, it's on the outside where it starts like splitting. That's right weird. There. And I'm like, it's because your foot movement all the time. But let's be honest, they have stitching in there. And when the stitching cuts the leather, then it just starts separating more and more and more and more and more.
And let's be honest, Walmart stuff is not the best quality.
No. That honestly is, they're a great pair of boots. If you're doing something long term where you need tact, they're a great holdover while you save your money to buy a good pair. Yeah. Especially if you don't have the money.
If you really want tactical boots, go with fucking Under Armour boots. The motherfuckers are lightweight and comfortable.
Honestly, I've never had a pair, but I want to say I've worn a pair, and they're really nice.
Oh,
I like
they're
them.
Wonderful. Yeah.
And they breathe.
Yes, they
do. You ain't getting no athlete's foot in them.
A lot of military people, they will actually get the Under Armour ones to wear overseas because they breathe so good. Because let's be honest,
no shit.
The GI shit, that stuff is
that'll sweat you out. She was apologized to me because she wore my boots. I'm like, well, which ones? Because I thought she wore my. I bought a pair of black cowboy boots, my riders.
Right. Yeah.
I call them my cowboy boots, but they're motorcycle riding boots.
Yeah.
And I bought a pair for my wedding, and I was like, I'm gonna have these strictly for when I go to nice places.
Right.
I wear them every fucking day. They're the most comfortable pair of boots I've
Right.
ever owned.
Yeah.
And well, she was like, well, those ones with the zipper on the side. I was like, my tacticals? She's like, well, yeah, I hope you're not mad about that. I'm like, take them home if you like them.
Right.
And she was like, are you serious? And I was like, are they comfortable on your feet? Like, she's like, yeah, that's the most comfortable pair of shoes I've had on, especially with how bad my bone spur has been. And I'm like, to take them home.
Nice.
And like, evidently, she said the way they fit, they would support her better. I'm like, well, that's how they're designed. They're supposed to give you like ankle support and foot support. Like I'm like, if they are comfortable on you and you can fit them, my foot's a lot bigger than hers. I'm like, if you can fit them and they're comfy, take them home. They're yours. I haven't worn them in a year. Just take them.
Right.
She's like, oh, you're awesome. And I was like, and the insoles in there, I suggest get some new ones because I beat the shit out of those.
I tell you, that was actually side zips. I love side zip boots. My Rockies are side zip. But I tell you what, when that's why the other pair of boots that I have is my other favorite pair. They're actually a pair of Wildland firefighting boots. And they were made by a company called Northeast Boot Company. It's a really small place. You have to look them up online and order your boots from them. They make everything, I don't think they're all custom, but I mean, they're some place that takes pride in their boots. Kind of like Red Wing, but smaller.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they have front zips on them. That is one of the most comfortable boots that I've ever worn because if you have side zip boots, you can't just like unzip them and walk around with them unzipped because, your pant leg gets caught on them and stuff like that. With front zip boots, if it's hot outside or something like that, I just unzip the front of them and walk around with them completely unzipped.
Oh, yeah.
You can cover them with your pant legs. Nobody knows they're unzipped, but they breathe like crazy. They're great. I love them. Yeah.
Right.
But one other thing you need to make sure, because you just said it, is insoles.
Yeah, I was actually just gonna say, whenever you get a new pair of boots, those boots are fine. Like the insoles are usually fine in them, but
give them a year.
I know what I always do is I buy a new pair of insoles when I buy the boots.
Really?
Because I don't know, for me, a lot of boots that I've had, factory insoles, only last a couple of months before my feet kind of start aching a little bit. So I buy actual, no matter what I'm wearing, I buy work boot insoles.
Yeah.
Because they have a little more gel, they have a little more cushion, the arch is a little more sturdy. Like all these things, that's why I like wearing them, because they're designed for somebody who's going to be on their feet all day in a factory or foundry or some kind of hard labor job. And so if you're using them in a prison or in some kind of first responder, anything, or you knock it off. Darwin's attacking my leg.
Yes.
But
I always go on Amazon and I'll get a pair of, they're called Superfeet insoles.
Okay.
But the nice thing about the Superfeet insoles is you can choose how much arch support you get because it actually has a plastic cup that everything is built on. So like the heel part has a plastic bottom to it, and then the top is, you can choose like how heavy duty or how soft the actual insole part is. And they even have one that has like the copper in it that's supposed to help your feet from not, feeling like shit all the time.
Right.
Another thing I was going to say is if you're a first responder, corrections or whatever, you're going to get hot in the summertime and cold in the wintertime.
Oh, yeah.
Invest in good underclothes.
Yes. I'm actually wearing long johns under my clothes right now.
Yeah.
Because I came over straight from work. I'm still in my work uniform. And thick wool thermal socks.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have wool socks. I love my wool socks. They actually help my feet not to swet as much as.
Oh, dude, all my feet are drenched in sweat right now.
Nice. That's the smell.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But I wait till I take my shoes off.
Oh.
But, yeah.
There's a company actually called Heat. They're same company, I don't know, but they're called Heat Keep and Cold Keep. Or Cool Keep. I love those things. The Heat Keep will keep you warm when you're outside in a freaking blizzard, and the Cool Keep, that'll keep you cold no matter how hot it is outside,
Right.
so you're not sweating your ass off.
One more recommendation on insoles, real quick. For anybody out there that is just starting to break into the workforce, be it blue collar or first responder in any way, when you buy insoles, you may have heard in the past, oh, memory foam is the way you want to go. I'm not going to say not to do that, but I will say don't skimp on it. Every dollar store in America probably has their own version of memory foam insoles.
Right.
Doesn't mean it's any good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might hold the form of your foot for the first week, maybe 2 weeks.
And then just
But
goo.
then it turns to goo, and then you're walking on bullshit
Yeah.
all day. And now you're going to have to spend even more money. So invest in a decent pair. Now, I'm not saying go all out with the most popular, Dr. Scholl's. I mean, you'll find
I don't
something
think
like...
Dr. Scholl's doesn't even last that long for me.
Well, I'm saying, like, don't go with the most popular, most expensive. Like, find something you like. Don't be afraid to spend a little extra money on a pair of insoles.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
because the boot
it'll be worth
the
it.
boot is basically just what is going to last a long time. The insole is really what you're going to be
Oh,
walking on.
Yeah. I've never really understood companies that required you to have your shoes looking pristine.
Yeah.
I when I was in corrections, one of the requirements was you had to buff your boots.
Yep.
And I would do that.
EMS has you do
Yeah,
that. A
and
lot
I
of
would do
places
that. And I can understand, like, as an appearance look, the people that see you want you to look as clean
Professional,
as
yeah,
possible. But at the same time, I really doubt an inmate, for corrections
is
point of view,
is going to
I
give a
don't think
shit.
they're going to give a shit about what my feet look like.
Well, and that's the thing about EMS is the first company I ever worked for, they had a appearance clause in their protocol or
Yeah.
handbook or whatever, and they wanted you to have polished boots every shift.
Mm-hmm.
For everybody in EMS, the back steps on the ambulances, you don't really lean down and pick them up because there's going to be road dirt on it. So you kick them things up a couple of times with your boots, and then you got scuffs on them anyway. It's like, what the fuck's the difference? It's like a waste of time.
Yeah.
I did like having, like, whenever you have a really good polished boot, it looks awesome. But then again, you have to keep up with it, or else it just looks like shit all the time.
Yeah. Now, what you were saying about underclothes, thermals. I will say I have got a Under Armour
Shirt.
thermal shirt.
Yeah.
One of the best ones I've had.
Yep.
Oh man, it is awesome.
I love the Heat Keep because it's like half the price of the Under Armour stuff, but it's just as good in my opinion.
Really? I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to check
I like
them
them.
out.
I think you can get them at Kohl's.
No shit. I'm gonna have to check that out. My wife's gonna be ecstatic. She loves going to Kohl's.
Who doesn't? I don't even know if
Me.
Kohl's exists everywhere else.
I'm not a fan.
Really?
Dude.
It's better than some of the other places, man.
Here are the stores I like going to: Menards, Lowe's,
Man stores, yes.
the gun stores.
Yes.
Like,
Shields.
stores like that I can dig. I like going to. I can get over going to Walmart.
Right.
I don't like Target. I don't like Kohl's.
Oh,
don't like JCPenney.
Here,
Like-
I'm going to put this out there. The fuck is wrong with people when it snows? What the fuck is wrong with people when it
Oh,
snows?
everybody thinks it's the apocalypse?
Yes!
Oh my god, you have two old ladies fighting over a loaf of bread over here.
Oh my god. So, last week, actually, some of my old coworkers, a lot of the military guys that I used to work with, and they wanted to go out and basically go out and get some pizza, have some beers and stuff like that. So I ended up meeting them around here, and we went out for the night. And it was fun. It was great. But I decided I was going to go to Walmart before I met them, and it was the night the snow was supposed to start. I went to Walmart. I wanted two things. That's all I wanted. Two fucking things.
Honestly, my favorite people are in occasions like this.
Who's that?
Preppers.
Yeah.
Because they're not fucking worried.
Nope.
They're like, oh, there's a storm up the river.
I already had everything I needed. I had actually just smoked some pork And I had enough freaking food to last me a week if I even couldn't get out. And I'm like, I got fucking 4-wheel drive. I don't give a shit. I'll make it, you know. But I get to Walmart and I grab the 2 things I need, and I stood in line at the self-checkout for 10 fucking minutes, and the rest of the place was packed.
Yep.
I have never seen a Walmart with every single aisle or lane open before. Every single lane was open,
Yeah.
but it was fucking packed.
Fridays are shopping day at my house.
It was
We didn't
stupid.
have anything in the house
Yeah,
because Friday was our shopping day.
right.
And then the storm comes out of nowhere, and
Everybody knew about it for a week.
we didn't have any money.
Right. Well, I
It's
know,
payday.
but I mean,
that's why it's our shopping day. It's our payday.
I'm just saying, why is everybody stacked up? They
Yeah.
knew about it for a fucking week.
And that's what we get there. And honestly, I was taking my fucking time. I'm sorry. You can get pissy if you're standing behind me with your 4 grocery carts worth of shit.
Uh-huh.
That I'm going to take my goddamn time. I'm going to walk through here the same way that I do when I'm walking through here every other Friday night.
Right. And you
Like-
know what was fucking stupid is everybody had, besides the people in the self-checkout, like me who just had 2, there were some people even in the self-checkout that had grocery carts piled. Like,
6 bags of cat food. Like, that person doesn't even own a cat.
it was fucking, the shopping carts looked pregnant. It was like bulging over the top. I'm like,
Yeah.
seriously, can you guys like not survive for a night without all this shit?
Right.
Or what the fuck? You know?
Seriously, I'm going home. I'm putting a movie in and popping some popcorn until about
Yes.
9 o'clock at night. I'm going to hit the hay because I got to go to work in the morning.
Right, exactly. And pray that the plows came through.
Oh, they didn't.
Yeah.
I had to work on Saturday.
Oh, that sucks.
Dude, I had to
man.
get up at 4 a.m.
Fuck that.
Dude, there was nothing. There was dude, I was the one pushing the
snow out of the way.
the snow out of the way in a 99 Lumina.
Right, yeah.
Dude, there was no plow on the front of my I actually thought to myself like, I bet I could probably jimmy rig something in my garage, put on the front of my car.
Piece of fucking plywood. And,
Yeah, just like bolt it to the bumper at an angle, so it just kind of like pushes it off to the side as I'm going.
You know, the plate. I don't know if anybody else has seen this. It's kind of cool to watch. Is the places that get a ton of snow when they have a train that has a snow plow on the front of it, like an actual powered snow blower on the front of it. That's fucking awesome. I'd like to see that in person. I have a funny story, funny-ish story. So whenever you were talking about your frustration, this kind of brought up this story, and the snow brought up this story. So
Then we should probably get back to our PPE.
yeah. The last big snowstorm we had before this one, I was working.
Yeah.
Now, ambulances are rear-wheel drive, and they don't weigh a whole heck of a lot.
Really?
So if
Yeah,
there's
I guess there's a whole lot of empty space in there.
Yeah, if there's snow, and it's about as much snow as we have right now,
Right.
you can't drive down certain roads, especially if the snowplows haven't made there yet. So we get a call. We got a call for a man who had fallen, hit his head, and passed out. So we park at the end of the road, and I actually left my partner at the ambulance because he was parked on the roadway. I grabbed the cot, I grabbed the backboard, and I grabbed my bag, and I start trucking it all through the snow for about a block because you couldn't make it down the road, and even the fire truck was parked on the plowed part. So I truck it all down there. Walk into this house, and the guy is sitting there, and the firemen are standing there, and they hadn't put him on a backboard. They hadn't really done anything yet. And I was like, okay, well, do we need to backboard him? What are we going to do? Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
This guy apparently had fallen 12 blocks away.
Oh.
That's where he hit his head and passed out. Walked 12 blocks to his buddy's house. And because his buddy couldn't drive him anywhere, he called us to take him to the hospital. Well, he didn't want to get put on the backboard, number one. He refused the cot, number two. He refused any IVs because he said he got he said he got knocked out, so that's, protocol is, if you get knocked out, you get an IV, blah, blah, blah. Refused everything. actually walked to the ambulance, walked a block back with me to the ambulance, got in the ambulance, and we drove him to the hospital. This
Jesus.
dude's story was bullshit because he just wanted to ride to where the hospital was because his other buddy, who had been plowed out and had a car that could take him where he wanted to go, was 2 blocks from the hospital. So he walked 12 blocks to his buddy's house, couldn't get the ride he wanted from his buddy, so he called the ambulance. We took him to the hospital, and he signed himself out before I even got the report done and walked out of the hospital. I'm like, you're a piece of shit. I fucking hate you. That's one of those...
What the fuck?
That happens a lot around here. That's why they call it a Capulence, man.
That does not surprise me at all, actually.
Mm-hmm. If a taxi doesn't run, an ambulance will.
There's another topic we're going to have to talk about, but we're not going to do it this week.
Okay. We'll just add it to the list.
Sovereign citizens.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, back to the PPE.
Bunch of fucking idiots.
Actually, you know what? One of my, especially talking about snow and, gear for work, I used to take my fire boots home with me from the firehouse, and I'd take them to the ambulance with me. So that way, if there was a lot of snow like we got right now, I just put my fire boots on because I'll tell you what, them motherfuckers will keep you warm, and you don't have to worry about getting snow in your pants. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that.
I used to take all my bunker gear. One of the old guys that I used to work with at my first service, he was a volunteer fireman too, and he would take his bunker pants and boots home with him whenever he knew that there was going to be snow. And if he knew he was going to be working out on the roadway, he'd put his bunker pants on, put his bunker coat on, bunker boots, and just work out of the ambulance with him, because that shit will keep you warm, and you don't have to worry about getting snow inside your boots or anything like that.
No shit.
Mm-hmm. Not all places will let you do that. I'm sure a couple of ambulance places would probably throw a hissy fit if you were going out and bunker stuff. But yeah, it's a good idea. I mean,
that is a good idea.
Because that's the one thing that you don't want to do is, number one, in the wintertime, you don't want to be cold because it takes you forever to warm back up. In the summertime, you don't want to sweat your ass off because you're just going to be sweaty all day after that.
Here's one for you. Mm-hmm. For PPE. Now, every company has a uniform.
Right, yeah.
Well, most companies have a uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Normally, you have to buy your own pants, but...
Well, actually, that's one thing that's pretty cool is mine are supplied to me.
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, but my pants are also fire resistant.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, they're fire retardant. A coat for the winter.
Uh-huh.
Do not skimp on a coat. I got lucky because my current job position requires me to work outside. They actually supplied me with a Carhartt fire-resistant waterproof coat.
That's
the coat's $350.
Yeah, that's nice. That's really nice.
And it's mine.
Right.
Like, if I ever leave the job, I go
keep
home.
it. Nice.
Yeah. That coat I have right over there, it's a knockoff Carhartt.
Right.
And
Does
I can't
do
remember
the
what
job as well.
No, actually, it works great. It's probably one of the best coats I've ever had.
Yeah.
We got for being a year safe.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. A year worth of safe days, which is unheard of in a foundry.
Yeah. No kidding.
It
wasn't necessarily safe, just nobody said anything.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I told so many jokes about that. When we were getting close to the day, people started getting a little more antsy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I swear to God, if anybody gets hurt now, they better just quit because the rest of this building's going to lynch them.
Right.
Like, they're going to string them up in the back. Oh, man.
And that is fucking expensive. I broke my hand in my garage a year ago, or 2 years ago, actually. Mm-hmm. Man, I'm telling you what, I was off work for like 6 months because the doctor didn't know about a piece of bone that had broken off in my hand. So he said, just put it in a cast and said, 2 months, it'll be fine. 2 months came around. I couldn't even bend my hand anymore. And so they finally figured out what it was. And
piece of the bone
had to have fucking surgery to take that bone out. Man, I tell you what, that's like $6,000 later. I'm still paying on that motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I had my fucking my student loans paid off before I've had this goddamn thing paid off. But you were talking about the coat thing.
Yes.
This is something that I kind of was a stickler, Nazi, if you will, about. Is if you're going to be in EMS and you're going to be working outside, make sure you have a reflective coat.
Or at least purchase a reflective vest, where you can buy at Walmart or any dollar store.
You're supposed to have, like,
throw that on over the
IDPH
coat. I mean,
says that you have to have a reflective vest in every ambulance. You
Yeah.
have to have a vest for every person on the ambulance. Well, yes, that is good to have, but honestly, if every EMS service would just invest in like a Spywack or a 511 reflective coat,
oh yeah.
it not only is it a lot easier, but those coats are made so well so that way
Oh yeah,
you're not
I
cold
went in my
outside.
garage.
And that's one thing that I always say is because the last service I worked at, they didn't hand us out coats, they didn't give us out coats or anything like that. But if you wanted to purchase one from them, you could, but they were just like a generic coat. It wasn't it. It was like a bomber jacket.
Yeah,
I'm
it
like,
wasn't like it didn't have anything really nice on the end, like thermal anything on the
yeah.
inside.
So that's why I wish that every ambulance service would invest in getting everyone that's on their payroll like a good 511 or a Spywack jacket that's reflective, so that way in the wintertime, whenever you're working accident after accident after accident and stuff like that, you don't have to fuck with the vest. Just jump out. You've already got your ANSI reflective jacket on.
Well, see,
Fucking
for
get
me,
out and work.
that's fucking hell.
What happened again?
I think I would wear the vest all the time. Like as soon as I got on, if I was wearing my coat, I would just throw the vest over it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that
if
would
it's
just be me.
if it's not a reflective jacket, I could see that. But if it's
Yeah.
a reflective jacket already, I mean,
Why bother with it?
right. Another thing I was going to talk about is pants, because everybody spends way too much money on their EMS pants.
I was actually going to recommend a website
Yeah.
that my cousin actually bought me a pair of pants from this website for when I was an officer.
Really,
Yeah, it's called LAPG, Los Angeles Police Gear.
I've bought a lot of things from
And-
there, and it's really good and really cheap.
Oh yeah, believe me. I mean, I want to say he spent like $55 on this pair of pants.
Right.
Dude, it's 3 years later, and I could hold them up, and you'd still think they're brand new. Like
Yeah.
they do not wear out. Like
They
I'm
sell
pretty
a
sure I'd
lot
have
of
to stab them with a knife to get a hole in those
They
things.
sell a lot of 511s now, and they have 511s, but they've also have their own brand name of them, the LAPG.
For anybody out there that doesn't know, you said 511 quite a few times. What does that mean?
511 is just a brand of first responder apparel.
Okay, so if somebody's
Every-
looking for something like that, they
Yeah.
can just type in 511 on Google.
Yeah,
511
5.11. Yeah, and most everybody that's in the EMS or fire knows what 511 is.
Well, yeah,
It's-
but I'm saying like for the new guys that just get
Yeah.
into it and stuff like that.
But here's the thing: is I have went through so many pairs of 511 pants, and they're made very well. Don't get me wrong, but they are fucking expensive. It's like $50 or $60 for a pair of pants or anything else. You know, whatever shirts even they're like $30 or $40. And don't get me wrong, they're made very well, but that one time when you're cleaning the ambulance out and you're using bleach water and you get bleach water on your brand
Splash
new
'em.
navy 511 pants and you can't use them anymore, you're going to be pissed. That's why when it comes to pants, I'm saying go to fucking Walmart or go online and order a pair of Dickies.
Well, see, honestly, because I don't work in corrections anymore, and I'm probably never going to work another law enforcement job or first responders job again.
Right.
Corrections just put that kind of bad taste in my mouth.
Right.
My LAPG pants are actually in my bug out bag
Nice.
because if shit hits the fan, I'm gonna want something durable.
Right, yeah, totally.
So they're in my bug out bag.
Yeah, I get that.
Is there any miscellaneous items that you carry on you that weren't actually like required or anything like that? They just made your day to day easier.
Oh, totally. And actually, this was one thing that I was going to say is, for some fucking reason, when it comes to EMS pants, some people want like 1,000 goddamn pockets. And I don't
think
know
I
why.
had 6 in mine, and that was only because it was like 2 front, 2 back, two on the sides. They're
Yeah.
cargo.
Yeah, like the 511 EMS pants have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh,
For some,
I had a crotch pocket. I never had a use for it. Didn't know what it was for. It was literally right here, right in the crotch.
you know what it's for?
No
It's
idea.
for a magazine, actually.
In the front?
Yep. Because I've had some tactical pants before that have a magazine pocket
I'm not gonna lie to you,
right
man.
on the thigh.
I know you're. It took me a second to realize you were talking about a firearms magazine.
Yeah. Oh,
That's why I was like,
you had a special moment.
"Oh, dude, I did
Yay.
bad. I did. I had a bad one right there." I was
You were like-
"Why would somebody be stuffing a Hustler in their crotch? like, it's not even that deep. It's deep enough for maybe a."
Oh. Gun magazine. You had an aha moment.
Never mind.
Nice. Awesome.
I can tie my shoes.
I actually, one thing that I always, the reason why EMS pants have so many pockets is because
So you can carry gear on you.
you
I'm
can
assuming.
carry a lot of stuff, but why? The only things that I would ever carry with me is I would have 2 ink pens. This was just standard. Then I've added stuff to it. I would have 2 ink pens. I'd have a pair of trauma shears, and I would have my keys and stuff like that. That's usually all I ever carried with me. Maybe a notebook, but rarely ever did I ever use my notebook when I was on scene or anything like that.
Right.
One thing that I did get, and well, actually, when I first started, I used to carry. It's a ALS field guide, and basically it would have drug dosages, drug calculation stuff for peds and stuff like that. And I still have them. But the thing was, I got it because I thought I would use it. I never used it. Like, I maybe used it once in a blue moon, and I think too many people, especially in first responder careers, carry stuff that they will never fucking use.
It took me about 3 months to really hone in corrections what my standard carry was at corrections.
Yeah. I tell you what, though, there's one thing that I did carry with me, and not necessarily on my person all the time. I would have it in my bag in the ambulance. It's called an RCAT, and it's literally this credit card size thing. And I normally would just like carry it on like a lanyard thing or whatever, but you can put it over a rhythm strip, like an EKG or something like that, and it'll show you where the baseline is, so you can gauge if there's any ST elevation. You can gauge the rate. On the back side of it, even tells you what 12 lead what the 12 lead correlates to. So say it's an inferior MI, if it's a left-sided LAVD, something like that. It'll actually show you and help you remember some of that stuff, because let's be honest, if you're an EMS, you learn so much stuff that you lose way too quickly if you don't, continuously try to educate yourself on it, and
if you don't use it, you lose it.
Exactly.
I mean, and even if there's something you feel rather confident about, you feel you're comfortable with it, read it again,
exactly.
because memory is a fickle thing.
Yes.
As soon as you try to recall exactly what it is word for word, you're gonna lose it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a fickle thing.
We've talked about training over and over, and yeah. If you don't use it, you lose it. Keep it in your mind. Yeah.
Let's see. My standard carry when I was in corrections was I actually had a pouch that I attached to my belt that I would carry. Now, being in corrections, we weren't allowed to carry a lot of the extra stuff like you guys were.
Right.
Like my keys were about the only piece of metal I was allowed to have on me,
right,
other than my badge. Because if you happen to lose it, that could be sharpened into a shank, and then you literally just brought a weapon into the workplace.
And technically, the badge probably had a
if that badge came off your chest, you were fired. You were getting walked out.
Right. Yeah.
Like unless you're breaking up a fight and like an inmate ripped it off.
Right. Yeah.
That would be different, because then it was not you allowing it to happen. It was an inmate literally assaulting you.
And technically, it's got a stake on the back of it. Fuck, you could.
Oh yeah, that pin that was in there, it was fucking thick.
You could hold that badge in the palm of your hand with that thing sticking out, and you could do some fucking damage to somebody.
Ours was a star, so if you palmed that thing, you were cutting up your hand.
Oh really?
Yeah, ours was actually, it was a 7-point star.
Nice.
I want to say it was 7 points. Maybe it was 5 point.
I bet you somebody could figure out a way to do some damage with it.
you had your badge, then you had your name tag over, which is considered part of your badge.
Right. Yeah.
You were allowed to have your keys. That was it. I actually used to have Thor's hammer, Mjolnir, as a keychain on my keys. I got in trouble for it because
Really?
they said it was too much. It was too heavy that somebody could steal it off my keys, drop it into a sock, and crack someone with it.
Right.
I understood, and I stopped bringing it in.
Right. Totally.
Other than that, my standard carry would be a couple of pens. Okay.
Yeah.
A couple of pens, usually 2 pens, typically black pens, a notepad, because if an inmate came up to say something to me and it was important, I wrote it down.
Right. Yeah.
Even if they're like, hey, listen, blah, 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 this is what's going on in this room, this situation, I would write it down.
Yeah.
And that way, if it was something I couldn't write an incident report on right then,
You'd
but
have it.
I still had that information.
Right.
Or we weren't allowed to really favor inmates,
Right. Yeah.
but if an inmate gave me some really good intel about what was going on somewhere, and it actually panned out and helped me figure something out and got some shitheads off my fucking unit,
Right. Maybe an extra hot dog or something.
no, I wouldn't do that. But I mean, maybe I would forget that I left out an extra roll of toilet paper.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I mean, that doesn't sound like much, but toilet paper in a fucking prison is gold.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it really is. Or maybe I might forget that I left out an extra set of sanitary napkins.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean pads.
Right. Yeah.
For anybody who doesn't know what sanitation napkins are, they're pads. Because that's really
Are
fucking
they made
gold
out of
in there.
burlap? I can only imagine.
Sandpaper and tears.
Yeah.
No,
Hey, tears are a
they're
natural
they're
lubricant.
really shitty. Like I've seen Dollar Tree, but now I don't know if Dollar Tree is all across the
I think
country.
so. Dollar Tree, Dollar General, Dollar Store, whatever.
Dollar Tree is literally just a dollar store where everything is $1.
Right.
Unlike some dollar stores, where like, oh, that'll be $9. It says Dollar Tree outside.
Right. Yeah.
But
We're gonna have to wrap
2
it up
pads.
pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish this up and then we can get off. 2 black pens, pad and notebook paper. I would carry some kind of highlighter, even if it was just like a miniature marker for like little kids.
Right.
It was a light color, like an orange or a yellow. I would use that as a highlighter.
Right.
And that's because I would read their rule book, and then I would highlight certain parts.
Right.
And they would get really mad because when an inmate first gets locked up, they're told it is a requirement for you to know your rules.
Right. Yeah.
And if they start acting up and like, hey, you're not allowed to do that, like, well, where does it say that?
Just fucking circle
Rule
the
number
bitch.
14, right there. It's highlighted. If you'd
Here
like
you
to
go,
read
motherfucker.
it, read it to the class. Why don't you? They would be sitting there reading. I'm like, can't read it, can you? Don't know how to read. They're like, you don't have to be a dick. I'm like, you don't have to be an asshole and try to pretty much say I'm not doing my job right.
Right.
So now we're even. But
I'm gonna make you a dunce cap.
no, highlighter, and then on my waist I would carry a mouth protector for CPR.
Right. Yeah.
They use this,
I think that's
the mask.
Pretty much. Yeah. All over.
They
you
would
have to
they
have
would
that.
give us one,
Yeah.
and then I want to say I bought 2 more
Right.
just in case.
I always
I
carried a
also have-
flashlight with me too.
I wasn't allowed to have a flashlight.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean there's some components in there to be able to
Sketchy.
sketch it. They'd be
Yeah.
able to sharpen it to shanks or something. or-
Right. Poison. Batteries.
I would carry my 10 codes on me.
Mhm.
I would carry my PREA card on me, which a PREA card is. PREA is the Prison Rape Elimination Act. It was enacted by Bill Clinton, I want to say 96.
Yeah.
And it was basically a set guideline for
I have a question about prison sex, but we'll talk about it next time.
because when you are locked up, you lose your basic adult American rights.
Yeah.
Most of them, you basically go back to where you were when you were 17. Okay.
We'll just talk about it next time. We're
well,
getting
I'll
late
just-
here, bro. Come on.
Oh, okay. Make a quick rule then. No sex is consensual sex in prison.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Uh,
I bet you it does happen though.
oh yeah,
I'm
yeah, all the
just
time,
saying.
all the time. I got a couple stories about that one actually.
Yay.
Yeah, not involving me and me having to write the incident report on that
Right.
and trying to swallow the vomit as I'm writing it. Yeah, prison bitches ain't exactly pretty.
No.
But anyway,
This isn't Orange is the New Black or whatever. the fuck that shit is.
No. I would carry what I call shotgun shells.
Okay.
Shotgun shells are just rubber gloves that I would ranger roll. You know, ranger rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Ranger roll into what they looked like shotgun shells when I was done rolling them, and I would keep those. I would keep 10 pair
Really?
in my
Nice.
because I would just go to Walmart, buy the pack of 100 gloves for $3,
Right.
and I'd be doing a shakedown. They'd rip up, fuck that one,
Right.
put a new one back on.
That's the other thing too, is make sure if you work on an ambulance, make sure they get good gloves, or at least steal some good ones from the hospital, because fuck bad gloves.
Yep. I would carry a calendar to keep track of shit that went on. I would carry a small journal,
Right,
air
yeah.
quotes, just to write down anything that happened during the day, just in case it came back to bite me in the ass. Purell.
Yes.
I would have hand sanitizer, and alcohol wipes.
Yeah.
Yep. That was pretty much my standard carry.
Alcohol wipes make good cleaning agent for a lot of things. I've got hit in various areas of exposed face with flying trach phlegm before, which is absolutely disgusting. And I have used alcohol wipes to basically do a hoe bath because it's disgusting. All right, well, we got to fucking wrap this shit up.
Yes, we do.
Because we've been
6
going for a
o'clock.
while.
Yeah, it's almost 2 hours now.
Okay, so thank you guys for listening. We appreciate it. I'm gonna make this quick. You all know to go see our friends at Medic Element. Use the code Medic18 for buy one get one free on stickers. Black Rifle Coffee. Use the code 107 off duty.
The silencer.
Yes. Get a hold of us on email at 107offduty@gmail.com, or put us into your Facebook and Twitter and follow us at 10-7 off duty. Yeah. And buy our shirts, please.
Yes.
Still on sale. $13. Thank
They're
you guys.
Good shirts.
We miss
You'll
you.
like them.
Bye.
Bye.